one on 3.
Last one, guys. And it will be short and sweet. Alrighty, I am Sherry Cole. I'm from the Boot Hill unit, and we are that little part that sticks out at the bottom of Missouri that nobody thinks we're part of Missouri. But we are. We hold hands with Arkansas on both sides. But I was an elementary teacher, and so I kind of, tend to lean towards that. Johnny Appleseed. When I did the Region 12 report, I used Johnny Appleseed, and Nancy saw it, so that's why I'm here. And then Sarah tells me I have to do it 7 times to 7 different people, and then when I actually get here, and you're going to move around. So anyway, but Johnny Appleseed, we all know about him, and he planted seeds and told people what to do and how to take care of them, everything, and then he would move on to other places. Well, then he heard that some of the orchards were having trouble. So he went back and he taught them again. He retold and retaught and encouraged them. And so that's what we have to do with retirement education. We have to plant those seeds, and we have to keep going back. We have to just keep going back, because it's kind of like when you were little and you were memorizing Bible verses and things like that. You read your Bible and a little bit sunk in, and then the next time a little bit more sunk in. And as you grow older, you can recall those things a lot faster now and stuff. Same way with retirement education, because I'll tell you this, as a new retiree, I would get so aggravated when they would say, we've got to protect our pension, we've got to protect our retirement, and I thought, why? It's our retirement, why do I have to protect it? Well, it's a law, and laws can be changed. But I didn't know that, and a lot of them don't know that. We know that we're going to get a check until we die, but that word defined benefit, they need to know that word, that term. When I was in MSTA and I would go to meetings, I would hear them say, if somebody asked a question, you need to call Desi. Well, for a long time I thought Desi was a lady up there that we were supposed to ask for when they answer it. I need to talk to Desi. So we need to do a lot of telling and reteaching, and it will start sinking in. The Boot Hill unit, we have tried very hard to educate the schools in our area. We are Duckland and Pemiscot County, which is 15 schools. Well, that's a lot of schools to take care of. But we, a few years ago, had a plan. We had a 3-year plan. Each year we would do 5 schools. And at the end of 3 years, then we would start over. And we would go back and start reteaching and retelling. Well, we got through those 3 years, we got those 15 schools, and then COVID hit. So then we lost that. So we've been struggling the last few years. We're hoping this next year to start doing that again. When we would go to these schools, we had a script that we followed. We had this little bank, and we had some candy. And every time we made a point, just like about defined benefit, what that means, our retirement is, we have it because PSR has peers. We have that board that we get to vote in 2 members. If you have a 401k, do you get to vote anybody in? Every time we made a point, we put a piece of candy in that bank. Then at the end of our talk, we poured that candy out, and I said, there's your retirement. There's your savings account. Would you have saved that much money on your own? No. So it starts sinking in. We talked about our teachers that are in their hundreds, in their 90s, how many of those across the state of Missouri, and we had one. Dorothy Majors was in her 90s, and we could always say, Dorothy comes to our meetings, she still drives herself, and she's still getting a retirement check. So, it was, and you could just see their faces. They were amazed at some of the things we told them, and their mouths would drop open at some of these facts because they didn't know. So, what are we going to do? How are we going to do that? How are we going to get this retirement information out there? Well, we need to talk. We need to do a lot of talking, and teachers are good at that, but we have to stop and listen to their questions too, and be able to tell them where to go for information. Remember Debbie Ann when she was president, and she had the tie-dye shirts? I was going into McDonald's probably about a year ago. This lady's coming out, I'm going in, she says, MRTA, and I said, yes, are you a member? You know? And so, you know, you get, and now Nancy has her shirt. But anything like that, social media, we need to be on Facebook if possible. Our unit needs to be on Facebook at each meeting. Just, you know, all this information that we've gotten at this meeting, just do a little snippet. Have somebody in your group that will do it. You know, videotape them with your camera, put it on your unit's Facebook page or your own Facebook page. Each month, give a little bit more information. Emails, letters. I send out about 20 letters a month because a lot of our members don't have emails. And then steal ideas. So that's coming to your part, because I always like to steal good ideas from teachers. I would go to other teachers' rooms and look at their bulletin boards and think, I want to do that, you know, and steal their ideas. So what do you do in your area, in your unit, to get out retirement information? So, talk.
Why don't you guys talk about your retirement education workshop?
Well, Boone County does every fall a retirement education workshop, bringing in AMBA. Cal comes does Zoom with us. We have Social Security, we have Medicare people, people from PSRS talking about not only the impact for peers people, but PSRS as well. So that's every year.
That's good.
And people can come, we really advertise it for a few years before you're starting your retirement, and we do see people coming multiple years, as you were saying, here at one time and then another time something else sinks in.
Yes.
Region 1 does the same type of thing and has probably the same people there. And we do ours, we in the flyer say, you know, retiring, you know, maybe up to even 5 years from now. And we do ours during their Christmas vacation, because then they don't have to take a Saturday, they don't, you know, and that seems, we had, oh gosh, I guess we had, you know, 20 maybe or more, and they were, you know, peers and PSRS members also.
That's good. One of the people in one of the other groups said that they don't go at the beginning of school anymore, because when teachers are sitting in meetings at the beginning of school, all they want to do is get in their room. And so they go in the month of April when they can pass out the grants and that type of stuff. So that's how they do it. Another thing that we need to remember, and is somebody in the other group mentioned, was some of them think that if they're a lifetime member of MSTA, then they don't have to join MRTA.
It's something we've run into. I think that MSTA is, you know, they have, well, MSTA has a retired unit, retired portion of its membership, but they, as I tell anyone who says it, who raises that, I say, but MSTA is still going to be interested in what active teachers are doing. They're not going to be working to protect youth.
Right. In the last meeting, one of the ladies mentioned that when she took a maternity leave, that you know, that time off, it doesn't count, you know, for part of your retirement, and you have to buy that back sometimes. And also, if you, Georgia was mentioning it, take your retirement, she said, where you might have to pay it back, something, okay. But you know, things like that, we need to let them ask us questions, because sometimes I don't know some of those things. I didn't know the deal about the maternity leave. And another thing too is they don't know what questions to ask sometimes. So that's why we need to keep going back with all new information, because it changes for us too, some of the things. Y'all are tired, I can see it. You're kind of like a preacher we used to have. He was an interim preacher, and he said, well, I can see that some of y'all are already done, and, you know, so. I do have just one more thing. The first year I was retired, I subbed quite a bit. So I was standing in line one day with some of the kids in second grade, and this little girl looks at me and she says, did you used to be somebody important? I'm telling you that you're still somebody important, and you need to get out there